Good morning. It's currently Thursday, the 30th of July, 2026, and it's about, glory, 9:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I've told the story many times over the last 32 years, and I'll tell it again. I was in a supermarket in France. Oh, I've got to stop shaking this thing. Sorry, I've got to hold it with two hands. Sorry about the shakes. It's my balance issues and the fact that I've had 6 hours on the nod, but I could probably do with a bit more. Could being the operative word, not should. I was in a supermarket in France with my then wife. We'd been married for 3 years and we were doing 4 months travelling around Europe using a place called Hoofddorp near Amsterdam as a base. That's where her family comes from. She was born in Australia of Dutch parents who came out after the war in 1951. So we'd travelled back to the Netherlands. I think it might have been her first time back there. Can't remember exactly. Yes, it was her first time. Her sister had been many years before when she was working for some clothing chain or something, and she'd gone over to London and then she'd hopped over to the Netherlands. But my ex-wife now hadn't been there. So we're in a supermarket in France. We'd spent a couple of weeks up in the Netherlands and then we'd flown to Istanbul, and then we spent 2.5 months making our way back to Amsterdam and had 2.5 glorious weeks while the World Cup was on in America. Strange how things recycle and patterns re-emerge. But anyway, T full stop or P full stop or Patricia or Trish, you can, I think they're publicly available names. She's got her own little business, so there you are. Was going down the aisles very slowly, picking up this, picking up that, and time was going on and I was starting to get edgy, and I was a cranky, impatient young man back then. And I said, can we get what we came in for and get out again? And she said, I just want to see what they've got here. And I couldn't retain the thoughts bubbling up to the surface. And I said, it's a supermarket. They've got stuff. And she said, yeah, but they've got different stuff. And I said, it's a supermarket. And I pointed out the window and said, not in an irate way, but slightly, France is out there. Can we get what we need to get and get out into France? I didn't say it in that accent, by the way, but there we are. France is out there. Let's go. I've lived on the left-hand side of the country for 6 years. My accent has changed dramatically. Anyway, she looked at me and gave me that roll of the eyes. Oh, man, her roll of the eyes. And then I think she said at that stage, she used a phrase that always brought me back to square or made me go off like a frog in a sock. She said, thanks, Frank. I'll be with you in a minute. Frank is my late father. He'll be dead 20 years next month. And any time that Trish wanted to really get under my skin, she'd say, oh, you're just like your father. Don't you are, blah, blah. And then I'd go straight into Frank mode. Anyway, I was going to, yesterday morning, I sat here at this table, which was much more crowded then, and I was going to spend the day looking out the window, playing some nice music, watching some Scottish YouTube. That's another story for another time. And pretty much soak up this wonderfulness. Full kitchen. I've got a whole bunch of fizzy drinks and coffee and tea. If I go downstairs, I've got the cafe around the corner. Could go down to the wine place if I wanted a glass of wine later at night. And I was going to plough through some stuff. And ostensibly, I said it would be for me, but what it really was going to be was to help others. So I thought, well, now I didn't do it today. I thought I thought I was leaving this morning, but it turns out I've got an extra day. And then I thought, well, I could stay here and look, it's a beautiful day. I've got the windows open. How is that? 72nd floor. And the windows are open and there's a beautiful breeze wafting through. It is delicious. It's currently about 15 degrees outside. It's heading up to a top of 22 degrees. Don't know what the humidity is, but from the looks of that, looks like the winds are coming from roughly the south, maybe. Who would know? It's swirling around here up on the 72nd floor. So I stood here and I went downstairs to have a breath of fresh air, and then I thought, well, you're a fucking hypocrite. If you sit in this room all day, you're being exactly what you accuse others of being. So France is out there, that's the Seine. You can just see the Eiffel Tower through there. The Ile de la Cité is around the corner, and Notre Dame has been rebuilt in its glorious magnificence. So I'm going to get out into Paris and I'm going to walk around and I'm going to sing a lot. From Overheard Productions, my name's Bill Quinn. I'll see you if I'm looking at you. I'll probably sing at you. Bye for now.